Welcome to Dirty News. We explore the conspiracy, the theory, and the truth. It's time to awake.
Maps, you know what I'm saying? They get all these older maps and stuff like that.
Wait a minute. So wait, hold on. Underground, under what though?
Under the earth, under the earth, the rest of the globe, the other part of the bottom part of the dome is under, but we're above it.
I get that, but where is that stemming to? How far does that go? Where does that end and stop? That would make sense if your argument is saying that there's still so much we don't know.
Right.
We think this what it looks like, and it's bigger than that. We just can't figure out what it looks like in totality. If you said that, then I would understand that.
And that's what that's the other part that I was getting at. So with some of these old maps, they're saying that the hollow earth part in the middle under us, they're supposedly, and then some of them related to biblical, like they said, as above, so is below. And, they talk about the firmament and trying to get, I guess the firmament is supposedly above us, where so-called space is. And I've heard all kind of wild stories about how we can't get above that and all kind of stuff like that. And then we tie in the whole thing as far as, with the government having patents on, putting information in entertainment and stuff like that. And they still keep making all these little assertions with a dome and people trying to get out of the dome.
I have a question. Does the Amazon flow philosophy, does that include topology in the equation?
Say again?
I said, does this Amazon flow theory, does it include topology? Like height, because, being in South America, I think it starts like in the Andes Mountains and it flows into the Atlantic Ocean, and I think the Andes Mountains may or may not be the higher elevation part of South America going into the Atlantic. So, is that just a case of, since you said about, gravity's in the center and we're pulling, gravity's pulling everything in, it may be a case of it flowing from a higher elevation to a lower elevation, because what we do know is water does run from a higher point to a lower point.
Least resistance, yes.
Yeah, right. So I don't know if they calculate that in the theory. I can look it up, but
yeah, that's what I mean. A lot of this stuff is, like I said, it ain't proven. I'm just trying to get things that made me think. I'm just trying to get it to y'all to try to make y'all think. And it sounds like we thinking now. You know what I'm saying? Because, like you just said, BMO, and how V you said earlier, like it's flowing from south and it's probably flowing from up top. But like I said, what really messes me up, I can get that. But like I said, if we constantly spinning, and water supposedly don't run uphill, what about when we spinning? Like, what's keeping that water on that's not flowing? You know what I'm saying? With the way that we're spinning at the time. You know what I'm saying?
But isn't that even from the bottom? Like, if you go deeper in the ocean, right? We don't even we all know that we don't even, the surface has barely been scratched on how deep the ocean goes, right? So your theory, although I understand what you're talking about, I would probably have a deeper theory saying that there is more to what this earth really is if you dig down, if you go deeper, if you go through the ocean and find out what's there, or if we're a ball, like we're supposed to be a ball, right? Mm-hmm. So how is all this water being contained in this ball?
Right, that's what
that's been my part too. They explain it, but my mind don't grasp that.
Yeah,
mine don't either. Because it's like,
I don't get that part. I just understand that I heard you say something about the core. Do I believe that? I don't know, because I just go by what I either read or what somebody tells me, and then I form my own opinion. But is there a core? I don't know.
The core is molten. It's a molten.
Right.
That's what
we were taught. So that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to keep my mind from going away or from going the route that we've been told. And so,
And to
you know
me,
what I'm
which
saying?
would make sense if it's spinning at a high rate of speed. I can see the core being molten. That makes sense to me. But it doesn't make sense how the fuck we can stay on this bitch without getting slung the fuck off of it.
Right.
Unless we're encapsulated by, like I said, if we're looking at atmosphere, it's encapsulating us in, is being protected from whatever's outside of that. Is like a multiple shells of this. If I look at it that way, that's sensible, but it's still a bunch of questions that I can't, that I don't have enough education on to put it together to explain it to no goddamn body. It's like I couldn't, if you just popped up on Earth and you had to explain air to somebody that you couldn't speak in the same language, how the fuck would you do that?
Right.
That's
Like,
And
how would
why?
somebody
And
even go,
the
you know what,
higher,
it's air that we breathe in?
right, and the higher you go, you lose. You're not able to breathe as much. How is that? Why is that? Why does it get to that
I
point?
think
Right.
KRS-One, and he put it. It was amazing. He was just like, dude, we're actually breathing consciousness. Put that in your mind real quick. We're actually breathing consciousness.
You got to explain that.
But now
I don't
explain
even know what that means.
consciousness, because that's so vast. It makes
Hold on.
sense because it's so general.
So yeah, exactly. Well, check this
I
out.
don't even know what that means though.
Right.
How are we
Right.
breathing
What the fuck does that
consciousness?
mean?
If you hold your breath till you can't hold it no more, what do they say you lose?
You're not conscious. I get that.
Yeah, and consciousness is a byproduct of breathing. I get that part. You know,
They say you lose
But-
consciousness, right? Is that what they say? He's unconscious.
That's almost like saying if I shot myself in the fucking head, that there is a tunnel in your head. No, it ain't. It wasn't before I did that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know about that one, folks.
But like I said, they say
because
he's
it's too
unconscious.
general.
You're
It's too
losing-
general, and you
you're
can,
losing
if you want to put something in there, you can find something to put in there because it's so general.
Have y'all ever realized too? And I was going to say that before I brought up the KRS-One or whatever. Just by different ways you blow. So if you blow like that, right? Go like put your hand up and blow like this.
Okay,
What does the air feel like?
mine felt pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah, mine's
Right.
pretty chill.
Now go like this.
Okay,
Or even if you do, if
Right.
you blow hot air, like you can blow
That's right.
and then blow hot air like that. Like
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what's the difference? Why is
I would
it
say because of where it's coming from. When you blow from your mouth,
It's coming from your mouth.
with the cooler. If you making a huh sound, you're actually coming from your diaphragm. You're coming deeper from
But it's still
inside of
coming
you
from your
at
mouth.
98 fucking degrees. That makes sense.
But I'm
That's a
saying
part
it's
of-
still coming from your mouth though.
But
Yeah, but it comes through your mouth from a hotter place.
right, but you can also like rub your hands together like this and
True.
get warm. Your hands get warm. It's a part of your anatomy as far as what can be
I
cold.
think those
what
are
can be hot,
explainable.
whatever. But
I'm not saying it's not, but why? My thing is like, why is there a difference between? I know you said it's coming from the diaphragm because you're going like this. But
Yeah,
what?
your body shit. When you take a shit, your shit come out of your ass at almost 100 degrees.
I feel like
It's a fact.
and it might be runny or it might be hard or it might be
It's
involved,
damn near
whatever the case
it's
may be,
98.6 degrees when it come out of you.
So we eat some hot wings. It should be about 200 degrees. Huh?
Hey, you can increase the temperature, but I can assure you that if you go below 88 degrees, your ass is dead, nigga.
Right.
That's all a person's anatomy because
Right.
if you
to me, that's
if you
explainable.
go
That's
if you
explainable.
run too hot, that's why when people say if you got a temperature of over 100 and whatever, and the higher or the hotter you are, the likeliness of you crashing out is more realistic. Same thing as when you're cold. If you get frostbitten or if you get to a point where your degrees is so low, your body can't take it. Your body's going to react in a way where you're going to either die or, whatever. But it all depends on how people look
I
at it.
think the one thing too that makes it hard for me to stay focused, because one thing about researching is whatever you believe and you want to believe, you'll start to find, and it's automatically trying to feed you shit that you want to believe in. So it makes it hard to stay focused when it be so much information out there. Because I just with this conversation, I can think of 30 goddamn questions that I can't explain, or can somebody explain that to me? Or I can see how that could happen. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's so many different ones that it's hard to stay focused directly on what the fuck you trying to go research and find out, because it'll spread you out every goddamn way. And I think it's by design sometimes.
Yeah, but this actually helps. So like this helping me because like
I agree.
Like you said,
I agree.
I've been going down these rabbit holes. I'm like, man, what does somebody else
I think that's what makes podcasts interesting. If you can make those thoughts come out, because like I said, too many people keep copycatting shit. So you'll see an interview, and you've seen the person interviewed, and it's the same questions with 9 different motherfuckers. They watch the other one and ask the same goddamn questions because they want the same reaction. And it's like, it'd be some shit that I be wanting to ask. I'm like, that ain't what I would ask. I don't care to know that. I don't give a shit about that. You know what I'm saying? But it's other questions. Like I said, when you ask a question, you might get an answer that you hadn't even thought of. Like, okay, that makes sense why that would happen that way, or I don't know how the fuck that happened. You're right. Because like I said, I've heard the flat Earth story. It's some of it that makes sense, but my mind can't get around that. But shit, my mind can't get around Earth. Well, neither.
Right.
Or space for that matter. Like, I mean,
I'm in between. I'm like, I think it's round, but I said, I'm into the whole thing. The top part is one's part of the dome, and then I think the bottom, which of course we can't see the bottom, all of the bottom, I think that's the other part of the globe. Now, the thing that I really can't get in, I still just can't understand the concept of just spinning, and then we're 70% water, right? We're supposed to have this Earth is supposed to be 70, 80% water, and it's like we spinning and the water staying in place, and
right. But also
maybe it's too because we thinking of ourselves and how fast 1,200 miles an hour is in comparison to what the fuck that would be is compared to us or anything we know of. But when you think about the size and the capacity of what's supposed to be out there, like we are extremely minuscule compared to objects that's out there. So maybe 1,200 miles an hour is like 100 of a tenth of a fucking mile an hour to planets.
That's why I think it's important for all of us to know, like, our minds is vast, and as far as we lived and as long as we live, our minds are still limited. There is so much shit that hasn't been uncovered yet. There's so many things in this globe of a world, if you want to believe it or not, that we haven't discovered yet. Not just down below, but even up above. There's still so much shit that we haven't even tapped into yet, that anything is on the table clearly, but everything isn't when you look at just logic to it. But then is it really logical or whatever? It's just like this whole round flat shit or whatever. Like, some people are going to believe it, and then they're going to throw their theories out as far as the why.